and people were saying, well, yeah, it ran up, but Bitcoin has shown over the calamity of the last, you know what I mean,
That
12
is
months
still
that
it's still a store of value.
exactly. So there's some characteristics there. You say, all right, I'm going to take some of this money and I'm going to put it here. So again, for you, I think the main thing is I like that idea because again, you rode the market, you've done well. At some point, you got to be like, all right, man, I'm pushing my chips to the table. And again, it doesn't mean that you still don't do everything you're going to do. Because here's the thing. Perfect example. I was telling my mentees this. I was saying this all the time. When you start to get exposed to markets, go back to the 4 things. Make, grow, protect, transfer money. When you get into the position, this is because you got to be the C-level executive of your life, right? And the decisions that you make around money. When you start getting better at life, but when you start getting better at life, you start getting better at money. But I'm just talking about money here. When you start getting better at money and investing, you spend way more time thinking about the decision than making it, right?
That's a fact. That's 100% fact. That's 100%.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that's a job in itself, just the decision making. That's a job.
Bro, that's what the richest, wealthiest people do. They'll watch you. How long you think Paul Tudor Jones watched the Bitcoin market before he came out and said something and put his own money in it,
that's
or just anything?
And how much content he consumed, how much books, articles he's read on the subject before he even spoke about it.
Spoke about it, and then have conversations or whatever. So you're gonna spend more time thinking about a decision than actually make it. And I promise I don't want to get down this rabbit hole, but I was watching the little clip you posted on Grapevine. And we need to talk about that because one of the young ladies on that panel, I actually got into it with her at this little dinner party that was for the December 26th podcast. It was kind of the same thing. I was laughing when I saw it. But and again, don't want to go down a relationship rabbit hole here, but I'm saying is the same thing with relationships, business relationships, personal relationships, whatever. I'm going to spend more time thinking about my future with you or this business deal with you than I am, because the decision is going to be easy. It's just yes or no. But I have to go through that whole process of figuring out if I do say yes to you, these are the unintended consequences.
This is how my
life you say yes to, you say no to. Exactly. And if I say no to you, these are the unintended consequences. But that all comes back to you. What are your goals? What are your aims? Do you want kids? You don't want kids? Do you want to get rich? Do you just want to be financially free? Do you want to be wealthy? Whatever. So for me, if you're looking at generational wealth and someone that grew up poor, I'm looking at Bitcoin like, this is one of my tickets. I'll wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, straight up.
I don't care about the price on a Thursday. Come back to me 2025, 2030, you know what I mean? On that same Thursday. So you'll spend a lot more time thinking about decisions than making it. So I think that's my guidance to you. And I know you will. You'll read, you'll study, you're doing all the right things. But if I'm advising you and knowing the situation, what you just told me, I do think it's prudent. You pull some off the table. You go to cash. And again, I know you have an interest in crypto and you understand that, again, which is why I feel comfortable saying that. Maybe you take 5 to 10% of that and be like, you know what, I'm just going to dollars cost average in the Bitcoin over the next whatever. And then when you get that signal, right, that I know you look for in the markets and you want to go back in, you're smart, educated, and brilliant enough to be able to do that. Everybody's not. Some people, the advice is, listen, just leave it in the market and just, you know what I mean, go drive Uber. We good.
Just
we
come
got
back.
shit.
Just come back in like 5 years. Like we'll be good. Right?
Yeah, but that's the advice for most people. But for you, I feel comfortable, even on air saying that to you because knowing you and knowing how much you're a student of the game.
Nah, I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. And it's funny because I've been thinking about it over the weekend, but it's like, with the options game, when options game earlier this year, we started put season. That was in March when COVID hit. So we ate off that whole downturn because we had a lot of put options on stocks. So we ate on that whole drawdown and we rode the wave while it came back up. And it was so funny because I've been debating over myself and I'm like, yo, I might have to reactivate put season on Monday, which I think I am going to do. I'm really leaning towards it. I didn't want to make that decision before the election, but when you factor in the fact that contested elections are almost guaranteed, I think this strain on the market is not going to just... Because first of all, even the week preceding elections is historically the best week of the market. So this week should have been incredible according to history and according to market trends. And it was a really shitty week, as we all know. I also don't think this is enough of a correction. I mean, once
No, it's not.
we made all our gains back from the year and then went crazier in a pandemic. So it's like
Yep.
even if the market retraces a little bit, which feels like a lot in present time, but when you look at the grand scheme of things and you look at performance over the year, this isn't even a real correction yet. So I'm feeling that, regardless of the presidency, the markets are still going to tilt downward. I think, even if Trump wins, you may have like a little brief bump, but then it'll still retrace downwards as the contested elections BS continues. And just off the top, the fact that they're going to have contested elections, you already know stimulus is going to get dragged out even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any. I see way more downside in the next month than I do see upside in any equities.
Yep, I agree. And again, that's one of the things that I was having conversations with clients this week. Like, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm hearing. Like, you're starting to see volatility go up in the market, right? And again, I know you track that as well. Like, you start to see that move a little bit. Like, really, really heavy concentration. When you look at hedge funds and a lot of large asset managers and people just cramming into tech stocks, like, it's just a very, very concentrated, top-heavy trade right now. There's really no balanced movement in the markets and the things that you would normally see in a very healthy, market. You're not seeing there. Not to mention what the government is doing or the Fed is doing and everything else. So, yeah, man, I think that's prudent. Pay down your debts, folks, raise cash. Just know personal finance is more personal than finance. So make sure that you know your bag better than anybody else's. Nobody could tell you what to do with your money because you know your situation better than anybody else. And I tell people you have to know two things: your current relationship with money and your first memory of money. Those two things are going to let you know why you operate in the space with money as you do. When you do that, you'll be able to figure out the things that you need to do to break free of, economic bondage, and then be able to have that freedom to have it, make decisions and do some of the things that we've been talking about on this conversation.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. And I think that's a real good, solid point to end on. I do want to ask one more question. And because we didn't cover it, we kind of did the different kind of pivots. But how do you feel about shifting out of equities into real estate currently during this time? I know real estate you're not necessarily a real estate investor in real estate. Is it, I know that's not necessarily your expertise or specialty, but I'm just curious to know what your thoughts on that in terms of shifting some of that, leverage in terms of someone's net wealth into trying to acquire real estate. Granted, right now, for people who don't know, right now is definitely more of a seller's market, meaning that sellers are getting way they're getting way more prices. But from people that I know that have like crazy bags, or people that I know that are heavily invested in real estate, going back to what the companies know, that they know interest rates are going to be low perpetually for at least the near-term future in terms of the next couple of years. I know a lot of people are loading up on cash, waiting for that opportunity to go into real estate. I know a lot of people are anticipating it sometime next year when a lot of the evictions and foreclosures that have been delayed start going through. But so I know I've that's something I've definitely been hearing, going around in different circles. So I was kind of curious to know what your thoughts are on that, and how if you have any opinion on how all of this whole bizarre world is going to affect real estate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have an opinion personally, but I can tell you I keep really big, smart real estate investors around me. And, whether friends or clients or whatever. So it's a couple things that is interesting right now. One, as you said, and you alluded to, the home prices right now it's wild, man. Like, it is insane. And again, if you're selling right now, and the bids that are going on are crazy.
Yeah, houses aren't even staying on the market. People
no.
They're going in, by the week, people are giving them offers.
And you're even seeing that in multi-million-dollar homes. Like, it's unbelievable, man. So, that's the first thing. Second thing is, again, just like any other market, you got to look at diversifying where you put your money, right? Is it multifamily? Is it, fix and flip? Is it commercial real estate? Like a lot of that matters. There's no reason to go into commercial real estate right now and talk about that. Like that's a rough spot, right? So maybe, so there are folks that are looking at opportunities there, right? They do have the money and very smart with debt to look at, all right, well, maybe we take some of these properties that are getting bludgeoned, right? Movie theaters, stuff like that, right? Malls, stuff like that. What do we do there? So there is some opportunity, but you got to be smart enough to be able to diversify within real estate. So there's been a lot of diversification. A really, good friend of mine is a big time real estate dude. That's what he's doing. He's raising a fund, right? And he started as a fix and flip, but he, again, stopped stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. He was like, all right, I'm going to raise a fund. I'm a hard money lender. I know this market. So he's now looking at, all right, diversifying and going to get big, like buying the block, like blocks in different areas, and then, fixing those up with OPM, other people's money. So there is a lot of opportunity in real estate for sure. Last point that I think is probably important here, where it's kind of my opinion, but again, real estate is just not my bag. I think what people need to do right now is, one, if you live in a home, you definitely need to consider refinancing right now. You have a mortgage, you should consider refinancing for sure. There are billions of dollars of people that are just out there and people are not refinancing. So that might be the first investment, quote unquote, and things that people should do if they're looking at real estate. Look at your mortgage. You should consider refinancing. Look into that. Second thing is, which is, part B of that, 1B of that third point is, if you do look at and you have some excess cash and you are going to put that money to work in real estate, again, as we were saying, you can't, with any investment, you can't look at it and say, well, I think this will be whatever in 6 weeks. Like, that's not how real estate works. It's as liquid as concrete. So it's very, it's hard to get out once you get in. You want to have a long-term horizon, even your personal, investment. A house is not an investment. We need to stop telling people that. It's not an investment. It's for savings, and it's a necessity. It's somewhere to live. Other investments, right, like other real estate investments, can have that ability, but you need to make sure that even your home, you want to make sure I'm staying here at least 7 years for it to make economic sense. If you're going to take money out of stocks or any other investment to go into real estate, you got to look at trends. Right? What are the trends where you're buying? Are you buying in Austin, Texas right now, right, where it's just on fire, or Charlotte, or some of these places where they're just building? Every time I go to Atlanta, there's more. I mean, it is nuts. So, or are you trying to buy here on the Northeast where it's really expensive, rents are going up, it's a really weird mix of, demographics, like. So you got to make sure you're in a fertile area. A lot of times you buy in areas that are depressed with the hopes that they may come to, but like you said, we're in bizarre world. How long are you willing to wait? Because your investment can literally, So seriously, you got to look at trends and demographics. There's a lot of factors that go into real estate again, and the most of why they tell you with real estate: location. Yeah, man.
Facts. That's a fact. Yo, so before we go, Ty, I want you to let the people know where they can find you on all the social media platforms, where they can find your podcast if they want to tune in, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. The best place is at TR401 on Twitter. You'll see everything there. My personal website where I have linked to everything. Contact to reach me is Tyrone Ross, TYRONEROSS.io. But want to spend most of this time to say we have a bunch of people in this country that are hungry, that are homeless, that are starving, that don't have work. I'm pushing this movement all November. It's No Layaway November, to go to a Walmart, help people pay off their layaways, help people get, affordable housing if they need it, socks for the homeless. 1 in 3 children in this country are going to bed hungry at night, and that pisses me off. So we need to do something about that. So yeah, man, it's disgusting. So, I can't imagine my nephews going to bed hungry at night. Like, that's just completely unacceptable in this country. So, let's get it. Let's get our bags. Everybody secure the bag, get their money, Birkins if you want it, ladies, whatever. But we just need to make sure that we're feeding and protecting our own. And that's independent of a blue life, a black life, a white life, a MAGA hat, a BLM. There's no child in this country that should be hungry. So I encourage everybody to hang up here and do something about that. But I appreciate you, King.
No, definitely.